So my first question is, who are you and what have you written?
I am Amanda Flower, and I have written over 30 cozy mystery novels. 60% of them were set in Amish country in Ohio, but I also write some paranormal mysteries and then also just a straight contemporary mystery. And my new book that's coming out is Mums in Mayhem, and it is one of my paranormal mysteries. It's a magic garden mystery set in Scotland. So that's what's coming next. One of the reasons that I wrote the Magic Garden series is because I hadn't yet written a book about gardening or about flowers, and it's just one of my passions. Now I can go play in the garden. I'm like, well, it's research.
The Magical Garden series in particular, it was inspired on trips that you took to Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult to not be able to travel right now? Does that affect your creativity in any way?
It has been a concern. So is it difficult to travel right now? Of course, for everyone. Does it affect my creativity? Not so much with the series that I'm writing right now, because I've spent so much time there. So I have a lot of pictures, I have a lot of videos I made. Eventually, I'm sure it'll impact it. I have a new series I'll be starting next year, so I'm hoping I can travel because it's out. It's in the United States, but it's not in Ohio. So it's really important to me to be able to go to the location. So I'm a little curious of how the whole COVID thing's going to shake out and impact me being able to research for that particular book. So yeah, it is a concern.
No. Okay, you've written bestsellers. You've
Mm-hmm.
written both Agatha Award nominees and a winner. Which feels better?
Oh, so which feels better, writing a bestseller or winning an Agatha nominee or winner? They are, both so surreal things that happen. I was a librarian for 15 years, and I was doing this kind of dual career for 10 of those years. And I really wanted to write because I wanted my book on the library shelf. That's why I wanted to be traditionally published, because I wanted it to be in the mystery section at my public library. Everything else that's happened is just beyond what I could imagine. I will say, probably winning the Agatha, though, and going up in front of all these famous mystery authors and having to give a acceptance speech was probably one of the top highlights of my life. We'll see how I feel on my wedding day. I'll have to tell my soon to be husband. I'm like, I don't know, it wasn't quite as cool as the Agatha. But no, I think it'll also just feel different. That was just such a shock. I do know I'm marrying him, so there won't be the surprise factor.
To be fair, a lot of people get married. Significantly fewer people win Agathas. Amish lit is very popular. I don't know how it does in your neck of the woods, but at our library, it's remarkably popular. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the culture interests, the Yankees?
I think what interests Yankees, as they say in the northern part of Ohio, and then in central Ohio, they call them the English, so non-Amish. I think what interests them is just how these people in 2020 and all the technology and all the media and everything are able to keep themselves pretty much separate and lead a very simple life. And it's just, I think, fascinating for us to see people make that choice. When they make that choice, they have personal fewer choices about what they wear, where they eat, what they do, what vocation, how much schooling, and our whole existence as a more traditional American is abundance of choice in some, depending on your socioeconomic situation and things like that. But in general, there's lots of choice. So I think that's interesting to people. And also, I think especially when things are stressful, like right now, people look at that simple lifestyle and it feels very appealing. Get away from the politics, get away from the fighting on TV with news media and things like that, and just separate yourself.
Now, there are some cliches in how the Amish are depicted in popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
What do people get wrong about Amish people and Amish society?
There are cliches that are depicted about the Amish and, in general American culture. And I think there's quite a few things that we get wrong. First of all, I think not everyone, but in general, the general public thinks that the Amish are very serious and austere people. In all actuality, they do have a lot of fun and they can be very funny. I've met many Amish people in my research that just, they are cracking jokes and they're teasing me about being English or about my book, like they're just having a good old time. So I think that's the first one. And then in my case, because I write mystery and sometimes my Amish characters kill people, which is very, very uncommon in real Amish, like it's happened a very minimal amount of times. But I think people also assume because the Amish are churchgoers and whatnot that all Amish are good. And that's just not true. They're people. So there are, just like in our society, there are people that do bad things. In the Amish world, there's people that do bad things too. So, and which lends itself to writing mystery novels about it.
There's this misconception of homogeneity.
Yes,
And
and they're not. They have a lot of differences. I think people don't realize that there are differences within Amish culture. You could be going to Holmes County or Jalga County where there's a big Amish community and one Amish guy is using a push mower in his front yard and the guy next to him has like a gas powered mower. And it's really comes down to what that bishop said is allowable in regards to technology.
a lot of your series are mysteries. Like
Mm-hmm.
there is some romantic aspects to it, but like the mystery is the baseline there. So my
Yeah.
question to you is like, do you have a notebook with just interesting ways to die stashed somewhere?
No, but I always have a notebook with me, or I'm like jotting down ideas for my current project, or like something I know that I need to write in the future, or something I want to write in the future. The thing, because I write primarily cozy, what I've run up against is running out of ways to kill people that is cozy. There's certainly many ways someone that could be murdered, but some are definitely off the table because they're just too gruesome and the readership would not enjoy it, nor would I enjoy writing about it. So I do have to kind of become a little bit more creative, try to still keep it probable, like a possible situation.
Not likely, but probable.
Not
Probable.
likely, but probable. This could possibly happen if all the elements fall in line. But yeah, it's definitely something. And my fiance, I don't know if I should be concerned, but he helps me a lot because I've been doing this a long time and we've been together almost 4 years now, but I was doing it a long time before him. So it's good to have someone else be like, he does give you some ideas, although he does get frustrated because he'll say like he'll think he has a great idea. I'm like, oh no, I did that in this book, or oh no, I did that. So go back to the drawing board.
Like we already did poisoned toffee. We poisoned the
Right,
toffee. We need a
right,
new one.
right.
Now, you mentioned that your fiance has a farm and that you love it, but this is not your first experience with a farm. You
Oh,
worked at Hale Farm, right?
I did.
Okay, now
Yeah.
this I have to know, what was it like working at Hale Farm, and do you have any fun farm stories?
Yeah, I worked at Hale Farm when I was in college, and I was home for the summer and worked there just one summer, and it was my most favorite job. It was just one, especially maybe at my age, I wouldn't think it was fun, but like everyone that worked there pretty much was around my age. And I was really kind of a nerdy kid. That wouldn't shock anyone, but I was really interested in Ohio history, and I just thought it was super fascinating. And we would be working in there and like making, food in the fire and stuff like that. But like when there was no visitors, like, and this was 2001, so I mean, there were cell phones, but I didn't have one yet. So we would get out like books or notebooks or just talk in between visitors, and then someone would come and you like hide all your like modern things away. Probably the most interesting thing was working there during their big Civil War reenactment, because in the evening, um, they would have a ball for the reenactors because they actually camped there. They're not having it this year, of course, under the circumstances, but and then the staff was also invited to the ball. So if you went, they wanted you to dress up in period clothing. So there was a girl that I worked with that I can't even remember her name now, but she was this like did Civil War reenacting. So she had a extra ball gown. It was a pink checkered off the shoulder Civil War thing, and I wore it to the ball, and I will never show that picture to any human. My future husband has not seen it either. It's terrible.
I mean, if you still have access to the dress, you have some options for your wedding.
I do not have access. Like I said, it was so long ago, I don't even remember the person's name that loaned the dress to me. So
Pink checkered ball gown.
yeah, it was quite a thing. So, but it was really funny experience to see all these people dressed up in ballroom dancing that evening. So it was a kind of a surreal experience.
How many people get to go to a cotillion?
Right, exactly.
That's spectacular. That's spectacular. Thank you. Personal question.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, how do you hold on to joy?
Yeah, so how do I hold on to joy in these crazy times? Well, first of all, I'm really lucky that I can work from home, and I've been working from home almost 2 years now before all this craziness. So I didn't have any of that transition confusion that a lot of people or had to be furloughed. I have a lot of sympathy for people that had to do that. A lot of my library friends had that situation. That was really hard. Um, but I hold on to joy by going outside as much as possible. I even ride outside most of the time in, nice weather. And I sit under my tree by my garden. I can look at my flowers. And then if I'm stressed out, I'll just go and play with my plants, look at my garden, weed, kind of do things like that. And go out to the farm and just spend time with my fiance and cats. They bring me all three of them are hilarious in their own ways, so they bring me a lot of joy.
So who have you been reading lately?
I read Midnight in the Blackbird Cafe by Heather Weber. It's not a mystery, but there's some mystery elements to it, but it's a women's fiction. It was very good. I was reading, I haven't finished it yet, but I've been reading Scent of Murder by Kylie Logan, the first in her series about a cadaver dog, and also very good. Even though it's not a cozy and it's a more serious book, I can still tell she was the one who wrote it because there's a lot of humor there. It's a little drier, and I kind of like that.
Where can people find your books?
So you can find my books at the library. Of course. And they're available from the library in print, audio, e-audio, ebook. So any flavor you need, large print too. But you can also purchase them from any book retailer. if people want signed copies of my books, they can contact the Learned Owl in Hudson, Ohio. That's my local independent bookstore. And I just, zip over there and I sign the book for people. So it helps out a small shop and also gives people a little value added with no extra charge or anything like that. But anywhere you buy books, you can find my books.
Anything more you'd like to add?
I'd just like to add that in addition to Mums and Mayhem, I do have another book coming out in August that I didn't mention. On August 25th, my first private eye novel comes out. It's called Dead End Detective, and it's being published by Hallmark. So it's the first time that I've written for them. A lot of people have asked me, does that mean it's going to be a movie? And I'll just answer it now. I don't know. Because of the COVID situation, Hallmark is way behind on their 900 movies that they make. So I don't know, but it's still very exciting. And it's set in you were talking about travel before. So a lot of my non-Amish books now I set a little bit further afield just for some variety for me as a writer. So it's set in the Finger Lakes region of New York. So so I went there and researched when I wrote the book.
How is it different writing for a PI than an amateur sleuth?
Well, first off, oh my goodness, it's so much easier in a way because I don't have to necessarily contrive how my protagonist that's, makes candy is now solving a murder and involved with the police. So
Again.
Yeah, again, like for example, the Amish Candy Shop just got a contract extension, so it'll be with the novellas like a 12-book series or something like that. So man, oh man, like I gotta make this plausible, like that this would happen, but I'll make it work. But with a
It doesn't have to be
novel,
likely. It just has to be plausible.
right, exactly. So with a PI novel, she's in the case because someone comes to her door and is like, hey, I have this problem. And she gets paid for it. So that, and also she has a relationship. I don't necessarily have to contrive a relationship with the police. A lot of times in cozy mysteries, one of the reasons that it's a trope in the genre that people mention all the time, that the main character has some kind of romantic relationship with a police officer. The reason being is you have to make it plausible why the police would, spill information to amateur sleuth. So with a PI, she already has an established, professional relationship with the police department. So those things definitely made it easier. The challenge was I hadn't written one before. It's still my book, so there's still a cozy tone to it as far as humor and whatnot, but it's not quite as cozy as like the candy shop. So that was a little bit of a challenge for the sound of what the main character sounded like. I enjoyed writing it. It was nice to like kind of have little break from what I've been doing for so many years, stretch my writer muscles. So I'm looking forward to challenging myself more as a writer, and I think that's what every writer wants to do. You want to keep upping your game and getting better. Like I don't ever want to be that kind of creative person that's just like, well, I hit the USA Today bestsellers list. Let's just keep doing the same thing and just hold still. Like I want to get better. So you have to challenge yourself to do that.